Hey, everybody. It's Isaiah Goodell with the Goodell Multiverse, here with another episode of The Dark Dimension, where we talk about horror movies, thriller movies, sci-fi movies, anything that's good, I'm going to try to keep it to more of the scarier stuff. I mean, you're going to get some sci-fi stuff here and there, not as scary, but I got 3 good ones for you. I'm going to tease a special edition one I'd like to do for another quick video for next, but yeah, man, let's have a good time. I don't know about you guys, but I've been enjoying a lot of horror movies lately. There's some good ones coming out. More I can't wait for this year as it happens. Excuse me. So, bear with me, guys. Got a bit of a cold going on, but we're still going to do this today. So, we're going to go ahead and jump right into this with your main review, okay? And the movie I want to do today for a main review is kind of an oldie, but one that kind of passed everybody by at one point in time. But I remember watching it with a friend a long time ago. I gotta tell you, it's not a bad one. This movie's called Cry Wolf, all right? It's got a sweet cover, kind of has the town that dreaded sundown kind of look to it. And you horror fans out there know what I'm talking about when I talk about that one. So anyway, we're going to talk about Cry Wolf. This movie is pretty good, guys, okay? 2005, directed by Jeff Waldlow. Let me say that right. And it actually was a short film before it became a feature film at a thing called the Chrysler $1 Million Film Festival. I got to be honest with you, I've never heard of such a thing, but sounds like a cool place, especially if you're going to get noticed and they're going to give you the money to make such a film like this. I mean, it's low budget. And it didn't get, I don't even know if this thing went to theaters. It may have, it may not have. I know it was one that we rented and watched at home. It wasn't one that we went to the theater to see. It's from Rogue Pictures. And I don't know if Rogue Pictures is around still or not anymore. It's been a long time since I've seen them. But it's definitely one of those that kind of in the early 2000s, they just made a slew of these kinds of movies. And they just seem to be, they're okay. And this one kind of is around those lines, but it's way better than I think a lot of people are going to say it is, at least in my opinion, okay? So it's starring Julianne Morris, Lindy Booth, Jared Padalecki, and believe it or not, John Bon Jovi. That's right, guys. We got Mr. Bon Jovi himself in this movie. And boy, is he actually really good in this. I'm not gonna lie. For a singer and to be a star, I mean, he's not much of a movie star, but a singer to be an actor, it's pretty darn good. I enjoyed him in this a lot. It's so basically this. I'm gonna read the thing to you real quick on my note cards here, just to kind of give you an idea what it is. All right. The story revolves around a group of prep school students who invite a fake serial killer based off of a real recent murder as part of a game, spreading rumors online and in person. But then murders start happening that mirror the lies. So yeah, basically, guys, it's these kids that they see on their computers, at a time when the old computer thing was new, this DMing and sending messages back and forth and us getting more news than we should and faster than we should and all that fun stuff. They see that, the news is talking about a guy who kills this girl in the woods. And they describe the killer and all this fun stuff, and it gets all freaky. And they just, for some reason, they have this game. It's kind of like a guess the killer kind of game, much like Werewolf kind of thing, but it's also just their way of taunting things. And they found out that the game was kind of boring, and they wanted to up the stakes. Instead of playing their own little game of Werewolf or Who's the Killer, they kind of somebody decided to do a fake thing and actually start trying to talk to this guy who killed this teenager in the woods. And of course they all think it's fake, and it turns into this whole thing. So it's like you're basically spreading a rumor and a lie and pretending to be someone who actually committed a real crime, which is actually quite amazing. And, it's pretty good that way. But it led into this isolated, what's great about this movie as well is it's like very isolated. It kind of all takes place in this prep school. So you don't really go too far. Like there's no bigger set pieces other than like the cafeterias or the courtyard this place is in, or I mean, there's a few moments where you see, like, in town towards the end of the movie, but what makes that work is this movie feels claustrophobic because of that. Like, you're stuck at this school with these kids while they're doing what they're doing. And of course, they kinda brought this upon themselves as they one by one get murdered by this masked killer with this big knife. And, it's all they're doing, they did this all themselves, so they kinda deserved it. So, basically, my review of it, though, is it's kinda hard to rewatch this movie over and over again, but it's a good one that if you've never seen it, you should watch it. And if you have seen it and it's been a while, watch it again because there's some appreciation to it. There's actually some really nice stuff going on. It fits really good in this era of post-Scream teen horror where everything kind of seems like it's normal and natural, and it has like this unique twist at the end that Scream likes to do often. I mean, the Scream ones get a little old because it's how many times can it be a different person and how many times can we relate it to that one single thing. Thankfully, this is a one and done, so it has a twist that truthfully, guys, the twist really works. It really sets up good and it goes real well. And I think that's why I like this movie a lot is not just because of the execution of it and how great it is, but it also kind of speaks to the times. Back then, when you're talking, we didn't have the DMs and all that kind of crap when I was a kid, but this was talking about what would it be like if you did and information got to you too fast. And this was, 2005, y'all. Like, right now, we're living that live, right now, even more so. So what's unique about this film in the rewatch I just did this last week is that it actually kind of more relates to today than it does, you know, in 2005, which is real funny. It's kind of like they foreseen some of this stuff. Maybe. Yeah, yeah. It talks about the misinformation, the idea of when you put false statements out there and what it means. We see it right now in our media, both sides of the aisle, right? It's like they start saying things, and before you know it, it's an agenda, and it's a twist, and it's a turn. And then when something really happens, we're all kind of standing there going, hmm, what was that for real? Because I really don't know what's going on. And that's this movie, folks. That's what's very interesting about it. When this movie gets to the end and that twist kind of hits you just right, you're going to be like, oh, wow, that was interesting. And I can see why, like, in today's world, this almost fits better. The thing is if it was made today, I think people would call this boring, which is unfortunate because it really isn't. Secure that one. The execution of it is kind of where I'm going at. It's very stark, and it's very realistic, and you feel like you're in it. The opening scene to this movie, folks, holy moly, like I love it. It's dark, it's quiet, there's no music. It's just this person running through the woods, and you see glimpses of this killer with his orange mask and knife, and she's hiding behind a tree. And it's a real victim, it's a real killing, and you're like, "Oh my, this movie's gonna be what the heck's going on?" Like, this guy is relentless, like, most movies where the serial killer doesn't chase him that long, or there's always that pop out and all that kind of stuff. Oh no, this goes into that very ultra realistic would have been like to be stalked in the woods by a guy who knows those woods and you don't. And yeah, the silence in the darkness actually makes it kind of terrifying. You have just glimpses of the flashlight as it glimpses through the trees, and there's no music, and it's just a crunching of the leaves on the ground because clearly it's like almost Halloween time, which is a theme in this movie, and it's very interesting to be honest with you. The tension because of that is up there, and whoever thought that the little dings you get when you get messages would actually bring tension and some of that pop out relief, because one thing this movie doesn't have a lot of, if any, I gotta be honest with you, I'm struggling off the top of my mind, and I just watched this like 3 days ago, a single moment that was a legit pop out that wasn't maybe just kind of silly or thrown in there, and I don't think there was a lot of jump scares in this, guys, but man, when their computer's going and they're typing away and they're saying their crap and they're doing their lies, and this guy gets a hold of them for real, and it's bing, the little popping noise that comes up on the computer, that becomes kind of like the villain's noise, You hear that going, and oh man, what's he say? What's happening now? Pretty interesting because you're on the edge of your seat. You want to know what this guy's going to say back. He starts saying some awful things about what he's going to do and all that, and they kind of fall for it, you know? It's like does not I like that it does not rely on the jump scares. Excuse me, folks. But it definitely is, you know, and because of that, the moments that are scary are very well done. There's a scene in the library where the library is pretty much dark all the time, which is very, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know why they have it set up like this. Maybe it's an after hours thing. It doesn't really say so in the movie, but they have it. If you're not moving, the lights turn off. I mean, I feel bad for the poor chap in the corner that's reading his book, being quiet, just studying, and you know, the light shuts off on him all the time. And he's got to wave his hand like, you've all been stuck in the stall in the bathroom in Walmart at one point in time where the lights go out, right? Yeah, that sucks. Anyways, that's kind of what goes on in this. But like, they're talking about this killer, these two main characters, and they think he's there. He says he's there. He told them, he's threatened them he was going to be there. And then, cross the library where there's no lights on, the lights start to turn on. And then as you move through the room, the lights turn on and the ones behind you turn off. Obviously, it's a trick. I've never, ever in my life been in a place where the lights turn on and off that quick when you leave an area. So it is kind of like, really, as soon as you walk out of that little grid, the lights turn off. That doesn't make any sense to me. And if you're just standing still, how would they know you're there anyway? So yeah, it is kind of a silly thing when you think about it. Although, holy moly, does it work, guys? It is like freaky. It's like you're kind of like, oh man, he's coming right up around the corner, and you're not. And there's no hiding it. There's no pop out. It's just happening. And there's a chase scene that ensues in this movie that involves getting into a cafeteria and throwing chairs at each other, and it just doesn't feel typical. It's not your typical, you turn around and you just can't see him no more, and you're kind of like, moving your way through the dark. I'm not saying that doesn't work. That's a good formula. That freaks people out. I get it. I don't like it either. It's unsettling. But what I liked about this is this guy, when he comes at you, he comes at you. And that's what makes it really interesting, is there's a lot of risk taken in that sense. And I enjoy that a lot. So, with that said, there's a lot of manipulation in this. It's more of a manipulation story than it is brutal. If you're looking for gore, guys, and like really nasty, brutal kills, you're not going to get it in this movie. This is not that kind of film. It's got kills. It's got some stuff that happens. It gets scary. It has good moments. The acting in it's great, and it sells it. But it's not very gory. Okay, guys, it's not one of those. And I'm glad it's not, because once you watch the whole thing, you'll see why it's not. So you'll enjoy that very much so. And I think they did a great job for not making it. Yeah, guys, if you love old slashers and you love that style and you like a movie that's got a damn good twist in it, something that just keeps you on your toes, this is your movie. Watch it. It's not perfect. It's not the best, but boy, is it a nice little gem. It's a great little watch, and it's a good time for a date night. It's a fun movie. I give this movie a pretty solid 7 out of 10. To be honest with you, that's pretty high. When I look at the ranking of movies now, I'm talking in the horror genre. I mean, just compared to Shawshank Redemption, this ain't shit. But that's not what we're talking about, right? We're talking about horror movies, and in the horror movie realm, where I judge things a little differently than I do my dramas or other things, this is a 7 out of 10. It does its job. It's got the scares. It's got the funny. It's got the interesting. It's got a feel. It's got an identity to it when you watch it. You can tell this movie had some love and care taken into it. And that's all you can ask out of your horror movies, guys. Any movies you watch. As long as they care about what they're doing, man, you gotta love it, right? So I gotta tell you, watch this movie. 7 out of 10. It's a good one. Check it out. All right. So let's go ahead and just get rid of this note card, just one at a time, or I'll mess myself up. But we're going to move on to our main movie topic of the day, which is the good old classic, An American Werewolf in London. Now, any of you horror guys out there is going to be like, oh boy, this guy knows this is a good movie, because you guys all know this. If you're a horror fan, this is something that you've at least seen. I'm not saying you like it. I'm not saying it's your cup of tea, but you've heard of this movie for many reasons. And some of it might be because you don't like it. But there is one specific thing that goes on in this movie that is talked amongst the horror community all the time, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. So first of all, let's just start with this here. Now, you're talking 1981 this movie was made, so that's we're going to start right there. This special effects wise is a very different kind of movie. It's almost all practical. There's a few moments, I think, in this film of some CGI, but when I say few, I'm talking like glimpses of things, and I'm not even sure if there are. Actually, I wish I was more prepared and wrote that down for you guys to tell you if it was, but I gotta tell you, I really do not think that there's any moments of CGI in this movie, which is what makes this movie very interesting because it's a werewolf movie. And how do you do a werewolf transformation without CGI? Well, these guys are the answer, okay? So basically, this movie was directed by the great John Landis. You guys all say what you want about John Landis. Not everything he does is a hit, but he's a very funny guy and he knows his stuff. And he balances drama, horror, and comedy very well. One very big classic movie of his, I know, was kind of a rough set to be on. I don't think him and Eddie Murphy got along too well, but they did make, Coming to America together, which might be one of the best comedies ever type of thing. So we'll get to there. Maybe someday we'll talk that. See if I can get Sammy to watch that one of those guys. We'll talk that one out. That'd be fun. But yeah, John Landis did this movie. So it's a comedy and it's a horror at the same time. A what? And it's so good. And it's very funny. And it's very scary, which is amazing in my opinion. Yeah, you've got movies that have their comedy in it that are horror movies. And you can say, okay, that movie is funny and it's scary because it has comedy in it. No, this is a comedy. And then it's also a horror that's scary, which is there's no Landis goes back and forth and he swings far to the comedy and then he swings far to the horror. And each time it hits, it's a little bit of a dry British kind of humor in a way. So it might not be the comedy for everybody because everyone's comic taste is different. But for me personally, it's fantastic. It's got that edge to it that's real fun because of that. So basically what this movie's about, guys, before I get too far, I already got into the whole review. See, that's how much I love this movie. I'll just talk about it all goddamn night. But anyways, let's get into the better part of it. So let's talk about what this movie's really about. So then you out there that's interested, you can have an idea what you're getting into when you want to see this film. So first of all, it's starring David Nunn, and he pretty much has done this, and that's about it. I think he did like a cereal commercial before this movie, and I'm surprised he didn't do a lot more because he did a great job in this movie. But also it has Jenny, I'm going to say her last name wrong, so I apologize, but Augeter, and Griffin Dunn. And Griffin Dunn is fantastic in this. Both these actors you don't see a lot of later in life, which I'm very surprised because they both really surprisingly pulled this movie off real well. And pretty much what this movie's about, folks. All right, so I'm going to give it to you real straight. It's teen American backpackers are hiking in a rural England town right there off the bat. Why? What are you doing? You're backpacking at night in a rural England town. You're asking for trouble. Anyways, when they're attacked by something, a monster, David survives, but his friend isn't. But David is also wounded and also cursed with a lycanthrope bloodline. So in other words, these two guys are doing their little backpacking across Europe looking for girls, which I don't know what they're doing because they're just trying to have a good time. Just a couple guys living life. And they're doing everything in a horror trope that, what are you doing kind of thing. They stop in at a place, they kind of not make friends with the right people type of thing, and then they travel out at night when something clearly is going on and everyone's already afraid. And David gets attacked. They both get attacked. His friend dies and David survives and he goes to the hospital and, he goes through this process of becoming a werewolf. And what's really unique is his friend shows up to him as like a living dead kind of thing, but he's only like in what you'd call a hallucination. It's not like anyone else can see him, but he does show up. And every time he shows up, he's like in another level of decay. So at first it's like a fresh wound and it's all gory and it's real cool looking special effects. He's talking to him. Hey, look, by the way, I'm going to tell you what happened. You got attacked by a werewolf. And now because you survived, you're going to become one. And of course, David's like, nah, it's impossible, blah, blah, blah. And then when you see him again next, He looks awful. He looks like he's kinda, like, starting to decay, he's all gray, it's starting to fall apart. David even calls him meatloaf, which is really funny, but that's kinda what he looks like, he's a big old piece of weird meatloaf. And David still is in kind of, like, shock that this is even happening. And he's had some nightmares, guys, the nightmares in this movie are I mean, you're talking Nazi werewolves that, like, murder his family in his sleep. It's just a nightmare that he has. It's fantastic. There's a moment in this movie where he has a nightmare and, like, he wakes up in the dream and you're where he would be awake, but he's still dreaming and the nightmare continues where he is, and he wakes up again, kind of like an Inception kinda thing. And I know that seems like a thing that we've seen in a lot of movies nowadays, but back then when they did this and how they did it in this movie, you feel it. You're like, "Oh, man, that poor guy." Could only imagine, like, having an awful nightmare of Nazi werewolves murdering my whole family. Then I wake up and then I watch a Nazi werewolf murder my nurse, and then I wake up again. Part of you's gotta be like, "Yeah, did I just, like, wake up and am I still dreaming? I'm not sure what's going on." Kinda freaky, right? But it works real well, guys. It's awesome. So Landis got this idea, I guess, after witnessing a strange burial ritual while he was on vacation somewhere. And he kinda, like, decided, "Oh, it'd be kinda neat if you were someone that was visiting somewhere and you saw something going on and you kinda got involved and then you, like, wanted to get out of it, and when you did, like, a curse of whatever that was followed you." And that's kinda where he got the idea of these guys show up in this town where this town is clearly aware that one of their town members is going to turn into a werewolf, so they all huddle together in, like, their local pub to, like, wait the night out. And they have some, ritualistic things on the wall that I guess you could assume is what's going to keep them safe from him while he's out doing his werewolf business, which, he just prowling around doing his thing, probably eating a bunch of deer, whatever he can get a hold of. But, and then these guys stumble upon them on that night, so happens, So I like that Landis got this out of some sort of real life kind of feeling of, I saw something weird and made me feel strange and I don't know what to think of it, and it kind of followed me. And that's this movie, except it actually does follow David and he does become a werewolf. The groundbreaking effects, guys. This is Rick Baker. This is a guy who did Michael Jackson's video Thriller, which we all know is great. There's great stuff going on in that. Um, it's actually the transformation scene in this. Rick Baker created like mechanical and prosthetic effects that made David's transformation like be agonizingly real. Like it's wet and it's all there's things about what they do in this, the acting choices that David makes or the actor makes. Yeah, David makes, and the way they use the prosthetics and how none of it is CGI. It just, guys, is incredible. It's actually jaw-dropping, like, when you watch it, and if you feel like you're watching something real that's actually really that you shouldn't be seeing, and it's actually real. That's what makes it so scary. It's like, "Oh my god, that I'm really watching a guy turn into a werewolf," but you're not. It's quite astonishing what they accomplished, to be completely honest with you. Like, it actually inspired the Academy Award for Best Makeup, I do believe, and he and Rick Baker actually got that too, because it's not just the prosthetics and stuff that's going. It's they had to make it look real enough. I mean, obviously you're going to see this, guys, and you're going to be, "Oh, okay, yeah, I can see where it's fake." Just like you do with Jaws. Of course, that freaking shark doesn't look like that, right? But there's enough realism in it, though, that makes you go, "Oh, that the touch of that makes that work." That's what this movie does. Like, you're gonna see the nose come out, and do its thing and separate from the face because that's very freaky, but it's gonna be a real thing in real motion with no cuts and actually do it. And all of us are smart enough to go, "Well, obviously that's not real." But because it is really happening in front of you and there's no cuts and CGI, and the makeup that's put on it, the effort put towards it does not take you out of the film. It actually adds that element to it. Makes you look forward to seeing that again and want to watch this movie again because of it. I like rewatching this movie just for those horror scenes. Like, oh my god, they're some of the best. But yeah, I mean, let's move on because like I could stay all day on the horror prosthetics. I'll probably mention it a couple hundred more times, to be honest with you, because it just really is great. It's got a lot of it's got the body horror, it's got the dark humor, it walks this tightrope of very funny and very scary. You know, it's like there's a consideration in this where his victims, right after the night he changes, kind of come see him, and they're kind of stuck in limbo while he's got this curse. I don't understand it. Landis does just enough to tell us enough, but leaves enough out to make you kind of go, all right, that's the rules. Who cares? So if you're a victim of David's and you die from him while he's a werewolf, you get to show up later and talk to him because you're in limbo because of him and because of what he's done. So there's a layer to this curse. It's not just David. And his curse isn't just being a werewolf. It's also recognizing and realizing who he's killed and what he's done. Because once he's a human, it kind of doesn't remember it, you know? It's all kind of black to him. He's not sure what's going on. So this is a way of showing what's going on to the person while they're not the werewolf. And they are some of the silliest scenes. Like, they're trying to convince him to, you know, to kill himself and, like, give him all these really weird ways of doing it. And it's a very touchy subject to have humor in, but Landis finds that. He finds that there's a seriousness to what we're talking about, but man, can we have some jokes and sprinkle them in there? And boy, they're good. And they're not jokes like in your face. This is all situational humor. I don't ever feel like someone's sitting down and telling me a joke in this. When the things come out and they say the stuff that they say, it's intentionally just situational and strange. And it's fun in that way, to be honest with you. Uh yeah, it's a masterclass in practical horror effects. Once again, I have that written down. I wanted to make sure I hit that home for y'all, that it really is a masterclass because it's not just that scene, the transformation. There's scenes where he's chasing people, and there's scenes where he's, you know, just running through the streets. There's a scene in a porn theater. There's a scene in a junkyard with some hobos. There's a scene. The scariest scene of the movie is in a subway with a passenger that's down there alone at night, and he just happens to get off the train, and this werewolf, that's David, down the tunnel gives its little werewolf growl, but it echoes through the tunnel like it would, like anything else would, and it adds that the growl's already freaking terrifying, and then with the echoing in the tunnel, whoo, shivers down my spine. Like, it's freaky, and it's a lot, and you do some werewolf vision there, where there's, like, as it's chasing him, you're more looking through the eyes of the werewolf at him, and not seeing a lot of the werewolf because these guys just didn't want to use the special effects. I don't think they were given the money. I don't think that was their plan to do that anyways. But boy, does it work, and it works to their benefit. You know, it actually works real well, to be honest with you. But its ending is probably the most controversial thing about this movie. It's got a very abrupt ending. Like, there's a moment where things happen and things are getting intense, and I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen this movie. I mean, I know we do potential spoilers on this kind of thing anyways. It's an old movie, so we can talk about it. But they essentially shoot David in front of everybody, in front of his girlfriend, and she sees him turn from the werewolf back to the human. So after they shoot him and he's dead, he's just a naked guy laying there, and it confirms to everybody what's going on. And you're talking to everybody, like police and all sorts of stuff. So and then boom, the end happens. And there's this really fun rendition of Blue Moon that's like, you know, very like a cappella, real good time. And it's a very strange ending. Like, it's a very strange ending. But it fits and it works. It's abrupt and it's sudden. It's almost cruel, and intentionally feels cruel in that way. And it works because of that. I personally love that ending. And not to mention, with the song I said, the rest of this movie has a soundtrack that's fantastic. You're talking Blue Moon during the transformation. It's such a strange, fun, romantic kind of song to play while he's screaming like he's dying because he's turning into a werewolf. And then they have some CCR in this movie. They got a little Van Morrison in this movie. This movie uses music to its advantage, and they do such a great job with that. Really awesome choices. Yeah, guys, it's understatable, to be honest with you, how often this hasn't been told for people to watch. I'm not saying it's not up there on a collections list. I can't think of any YouTuber or person I've read that loves horror movies that if you bring this movie up, they can't say, "Oh yeah, I've seen that. I see why people like it." And from that response to, "Man, that's an awesome movie," I rarely ever hear someone say, "Yeah, what a piece of crap that was." No, I don't really ever hear that. I might hear some people say it's a little dated and it's not for them, But if you like werewolf movies, guys, this is top notch. This is the best you get. We got other great ones. We'll get through 'em. I got some right here. We'll get to them. There's other great werewolf movies. Don't get me wrong. This, though, this is the gold standard. This is the bar. Like, if you want something good, classic feeling, timeless feeling, something that's going to sit with you for a long time and that you're going to want to put in later. This is another one of those. I feel, oh, hey, guys, it's getting to be fall. It's like, September. It's getting chilly out. Maybe a little snow in the air. Leaves are starting to change color. Guess what? This comes out with Candyman and goes on a list of, hey, let's watch a horror movie tonight. Which one do you want to watch? Let's do this one. Not every year does it make the cut. Not every year does it be the one that gets put in, but it's in the pile and it gets chosen often. And then there's sometimes we're in the middle of winter. Man, this is a good snow day. Curl up in the blankets, throw this sucker on, and just have a good time, I give this guy's, when it comes down to a rating, I know I don't give this kind of rating out too often, but I'm going to give you a lot of these kind of ratings at first because I want to show you the ones that I think are this, and I want to share my feelings on the movies I think are the best. And I think, guys, this is a 10 out of 10. This is another one of those must-see. It should be in your mind's repertoire of horror movies. At least see it so that you can say I've seen it and have an opinion on such a film. Because any movie buff, any horror buff that you talk to is going to know what this movie is and recognize it for what it is. And I'll be honest with you, I put money that you like it. So American Werewolf in London, guys, great movie. Get at it. Such a good time. All right, guys, that brings us to our creature feature of the day, which is my favorite part. What's the crappiest movie I can bring forward to you that's still fun to watch and worth giving your time, but it still sucks? Here's a real good one, guys. It's one of my personal favorites as well. Of course, I think they're all my personal favorites, or I wouldn't share them with you because they're all terrible. But here we go. Split Second. Oh, man, is this movie bad? So, so bear with me, y'all, because it is a bad movie. 1992. You'd think, hey, right before Jurassic Park, we're doing pretty good. Special effects, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, this movie is low budget. And although I will tell you, the special effects are great. So let's get there. So it's directed by a fellow named Tony May. Ooh, let me get a little closer look on that one. Malin, okay? I probably definitely said that wrong. Hit me in the comments. Starring Rutger Hauer. Hey, Rutger Hauer. Why do I always say that man's name wrong? Hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Is that not the worst? Like, I like the guy. I'm not picking on him, but my God, change your name to something, dude. Rutger Hauer. It's like I feel like I'm coughing something. Anyways, let's move on. So this movie is basically about a guy named Harley Stone, played by Rutger. And he is a caffeine-fueled, wisecracking cop hunting a mysterious creature in a flooded dystopian future London. That's exactly what it sounds like, guys. So he's this cop who, he's going nuts. He's just crazy, He actually has, a girlfriend or wife in this movie. I've seen this movie 10 times, and I don't know if it's his wife or his girlfriend. I think it's his wife. He's got a wife in this movie. I do believe they lost a child, and that's why he's kind of going crazy. But he is obsessed. Oh, it's his partner. I'm sorry. He lost a partner to this creature that is terrorizing London after some post-apocalyptic event that has London in 2 or 3 feet of water everywhere. There's water all over this movie. They got hovercrafts going down the streets of London, because it's just water everywhere. There's sandbags put up. Some places don't have water, but mostly it's all water. There's some driving around, but it's just raining constantly. And they don't tell you at all in this movie, what the apocalyptic event was that happened or what it was that climate had changed. Maybe this is a climate change movie before people really cared about climate change, I guess. You could say that maybe the ice caps have melted and this creature come from that, because they actually don't tell you where this creature comes from either that's in this film. But I will tell you right now, if you can see it from the cover, I bet you're going to have a nice full picture over here somewhere. I don't know, of this creature. Its special effects are awesome. He looks great. He's so wet. It's just so wet. That's a weird thing to say. I'm sorry if that makes you feel weird, but he's wet. It's pretty wet. It might be too wet. I don't know, but we'll talk about the wetness. It's very Blade Runner-like, though. It's got that feeling of Blade Runner. It definitely has, like, this techno kind of eerie kind of vibe, the music alone, it definitely feels futuristic, yet still kind of based in a very grounded reality, which reminds me of Blade Runner a lot. So this would be like Blade Runner if it wasn't so pretentious. I like Blade Runner, guys, but I don't know. It's up there with the kind of movie that makes you go, you might be thinking a little more than you wanted to think, and then after seeing the sequel, I know we'll get into Blade Runner some of the time, which is funny because there's another movie that Rutger was in was Blade Runner, but it seems to be this was this guy's favorite kind of stuff to do. He likes doing these B stuff. He does several movies that are very B level, but are real fun and cool. And this is one of them. It definitely had a low budget. They probably had $10. I mean, they probably said, "Here, look, we'll give you a full tank of gas. Can you show up and say some jokes, and we're gonna pour some water on you, and this giant wet creature that we made is gonna try to eat you, and you gotta kill it, and we'll send you home with a pizza, beer, and a full tank of gas." I think that's pretty much what this movie had, because it doesn't there's not it's pretty rough around the edges, y'all, like, but I think that's the charm it has, though, because of that, to be honest with you. Sci-fi, horror, action mashup, and stuff. Like got the sci-fi twist because you don't know what this creature is. Kinda reminds you of some alien vibes, blah, blah, blah. But it's scary. It's got some real freaky moments. There's a moment in this in a bathroom. Hoo-wee. And I'm just like, oh man, I don't like this. Check it out. Real good stuff, guys. And the makeup in it is great. It's kind of like Alien meets Terminator, to be honest with you. If you really think about it, it's like Alien meets Terminator, and it's kind of a disappointing child. You know, it's like, the kid's not going to reach its full potential, but it's a movie that would be right between those two, to be honest with you. Uh, you know, for a good, nice, it's rough around the edges. Uh, it definitely falls under that category of it's almost so bad that it's good. And that's kind of the charm that it does have. Is this really is just, if you go to watch this movie, folks, and you're like, "Hey, this guy on the internet with a big old beard said this movie's awesome and we're gonna love it," and you put it in, you're not gonna like this movie, guys. This movie is not good. With that said, though, if you go into this because you wanna see a creature feature, hence the title of this segment, where you just wanna see some badassery, some weird plot lines, some awesome images, and some moments of, like, actual brilliant perfection, with just, gore and slashing and making no sense kind of plot, then that's this movie. So that's why it's on a whole different level of ranking, You're gonna give it the practical rank, but then you gotta give it the creature feature ranking because, the practically, it's garbage. But creature feature wise, it's up there as some of the best. Uh, like I said, the creature design is awesome. It's just really wet, kinda slippery, very wet. Like, if there's anything it's funny, I had a friend the other day say, "Describe what it is to me," and I kinda described its shape, and you can see it behind him in here, and it has a very, like, Venom almost kinda shape to him, like, the head and how he looks, still very Venom-like, but boy, when you get a close up of him, he is just, like, wet. Like, it's like, this dude always looks like he's been in the water, and this movie's full of water, so why not? It's probably it. He opens up his mouth and his teeth, it's got the alien thing where it's, like, just like a slime, but it's almost like someone turns a hose on and it just keeps going. It's like, okay, it's too much wet. It's a lot of wet. There's a lot of wet coming out of him, and he's in wet already, so it's like he comes out of wet water, and he's wet on top of it, and everybody's wet. Everybody's soaked in this. Nobody's dry. There's nothing dry. Even in our homes, you just feel like, it feels wet. The whole movie feels wet. If I describe this movie, guys, in one word, it's wet. Anyways, uh, the gore is great too. It's very gory, and it has this slasher vibe kind to it, where it's like there's the moments of gore in it are actually pretty intense, and it's actually pretty cool. Like I do like that kind of stuff, and it leaves you with a good suspense. It's got an awful ending. You don't really know what goes on in the ending, but the kind of ending that kind of doesn't make any sense, but it's okay. That's what you expected, So let's give this guy a rating, guys. Let's finish up this creature feature. Its practical rating for a horror movie, it's a 2 out of 10. It's down there, it's like I said, boo, it's got problems, it's got its issues. I will say in its favor, Or to give it the benefit of the doubt, I think they gave it $10. I don't think they gave it a lot of money, and they just said, go for it. I'm sure this is a perfect straight to VHS kind of movie at its time. This wasn't being played before Jurassic Park, I'll tell you that right now. But creature feature meter out of 10, I'm gonna give it about a 7 out of 10, guys. Not as high as last week's, but this is still one of those. Throw it in sometime. If you feel it feeling wet and you just want to feel icky and you want to wonder what the heck I'm talking about, and there's lots of big guns and lots of sarcastic British people and Rudgar just being a badass and wanting his way, then that's exactly what you're going to get in this movie. So that's it. 7 out of 10, creature feature, y'all. So that is today's episode for the most part, guys. Just to recap, just so you know, go watch Cry Wolf. Great date night movie. Won't regret it if you like slashers of the Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer variety, but with a nice new age kind of twist that's definitely ahead of its time. Cry Wolf is your movie. Watch that, guys. Definitely will not be wasting your time. And if you've never seen American Werewolf in London, then you need to fix that problem and watch this movie and comment to me about how you feel about it. I think it's perfection. Some people think it's pretty close. I'd love to see what you think. I rarely run into someone that is being honest with me, at least, that tells me it's a bad movie. I've heard a couple say it, but not many. Most people that don't like this are just people that can't handle scary, which I get. Scary's not for everybody. I personally like it. Bring it on. Scare me. And then, of course, guys, you want to feel wet and you just want to feel gross and you want to see some crazy stuff go down that makes no sense, but still a fun ride. Split Second is your movie. Watch this movie. That took me forever. I had to buy this DVD online, guys. I'm not sure where you could watch this. I bet on Fandango you can rent this. I do believe it's definitely on all these are on Amazon Prime. You can rent. I don't think any of these right now are actually streaming anywhere on a subscription that you would have. You'd have to probably rent these movies, but this one's worth the $3.99 or $2.99 to watch it. I had to buy the sucker on eBay, but it was worth it for me to find it. I enjoyed it. So, guys, before I leave you, though, I want to thank you again for being here. Hit the like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Share it with people if you want. You got friends that like horror. I'm trying new things, guys. This is all new to me. I'm trying to get a little more personality going for you. I'm working on it. Let me know. Give me tips down in the comments. Let me know. Say, hey, change this, do that, cut your beard. It's not going to happen. I don't know. I might, guys. What should I do with it? Thinking about doing some Viking braids. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of fun, right? I'm not sure. This is the longest I've ever let it get. I'm going to let it keep going and see what happens. But the other thing I want to talk about is I might do a special episode for fun, a Dark Dimension special, where I talk about these 3 movies specifically: Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. So why I want to do that is because, we'll briefly talk about the very first Halloween in the 70s, because technically that is the first one in this series. But these 3 specifically, I would like to talk about briefly with you guys sometime in a special video, because I actually think this is a masterpiece. And I know most people like the first Halloween that David Gordon Green did. But I love Halloween Kills, and I got a hot take. I think Halloween Ends is do backwards for you guys. I love Halloween Kills, and I have a hot take. Halloween Ends, it's pretty darn good. And I think it's almost a perfect conclusion for this story of Michael Myers. Now, mind you, I'm not a big Michael Myers fan. Personally, I'm more of a Friday the 13th guy. I like Jason. I think Jason kills people in the most fascinating, fun, and exciting ways. But these versions of Michael Myers, I really, really like. And there's a big controversy with Halloween Ends. A lot of people say it wasn't that good. They weren't too happy with it. It's not really about Michael. I got to be honest with you guys. I don't see the issue. I actually really, really enjoyed that ride. But let's get there. We'll if you want to see this, guys, I think I'm going to do it anyways. If there's any movies you guys want me to talk about, any reviews, especially stuff that, is divided amongst fans and you just want to hear someone give their 2 cents on it, throw it in the comments. Let me know. Say, hey, do this movie, do that movie. I mean, you got some good ones coming up, guys. We're going to be doing stuff like Red Planet, Cloverfield, Dracula. I'm definitely going to want to talk about Event Horizon. That might be one of the newer one of the sooner ones, because that's one of those. It's a bad movie, but man, is it good. And it's just stuff like that, you know? So we're going to have a good time with that, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch me over with Sam and the Goodell Multiverse. We're going to be doing Iron Man 3 soon. And just keep up with us on there with the news that we have going on for Marvel and starting to do some DC as well. And like I said, hey, enjoy these movies. They're great. It's a great time for loving horror movies. There's a lot of good ones out there. But I hope this helps you. I hope this gives you something to watch on a cozy night where, hey, I want something scary, but I don't know what to watch. Well, if you haven't seen these, throw them in. Have a good time. All right, guys. Catch you later. Have a good night.